Welcome to the midweek preview. It's only me. And Warwick Farm is the venue tomorrow for the 5th of April. We've lost Gord to soccer, and Glenn, of course, was sacked from the midweeks many weeks ago. Now, obviously the track remains heavy. They've posted a heavy 10 at this stage. There's still showers around, although I imagine that they will abate come post time tomorrow. What we're looking at on a true rail, after the rail being out 5 metres a fortnight ago and us losing the last 3 races on that card, is that it was particularly vicious on that occasion and played high, wide and handsome. Tomorrow, I don't think that we're looking at something as severe as that, and I would be expecting on pace to go well and not necessarily the widest to do well, but clearly there's nothing wrong with being drawn wide. Race 1 is a 2-year-old maiden over 1300, and Devolving is our favourite at $4.80. $6 Bidwee, $6.50 Lankan Pharaoh, and then we have $9 Ataraxia, Kookaburra and Popular. Now, didn't mention it, who is an acceptor for one of the features on Saturday is the Lure. Bidwee can be expected to be on the speed, trialled recently and trialled in good style, has the blinkers on. Kookaburra raced very handy at 1100 on debut, in fact underneath Shaker, and up to 1300 will go well forward. And Shaker's stablemate Lankan Pharaoh resumes in his second preparation. He's only had 1 run over 900, so with the blinkers on, resuming at 1300, he'll be well forward as well. Legal Girl not too far away, having her first run this second preparation, her first run on her home track. There are a number of angles in this race. Now, clearly Devolving looked a brave run on debut. It was 1100. She does step up to 1300, and she only had short trials under her belt prior to that. So she's, I think, the testing material, but she's vulnerable. I expect that Popular, who is a debutante from the O'Shea yard, Karen McAvoy, surprisingly to ride, looks the sort of horse that will relish the 1300 on debut. She's been quite dour in her trials. And number 8, didn't mention it, who I know that Gord is keen on, has a good solid grounding and will be very competitive for a long way. So I'd suggest that 6 is the linchpin, but that 9 and 8 are good chances in race 1. Ataraxia backs up after failing at the city meeting at Newcastle last week, but does have gate 1 there tomorrow. Race 2 is a maiden over the mile, 3-year-old maiden. $4 is $4.25 Sweet Adeline. $4.60 her stablemate is Raisin Army. $6 is Van Zetta down the bottom, another Waller runner. $6.50 San Pablo. $7 yet another Waller runner is Shaylin Kung Fu with Bowman on board, and $9 Lucky Tiger rounds out the under $10 chances in this race. San Pablo, Gay Trains, led them up at Goulburn last time, steps up to the mile here, third up, and from more of a leader's gate tomorrow is certain to take it up. I have Favourite Uncle on the speed, Lucky Tiger underneath them. Raisin Army not too far away with Sweet Adeline. There's not a lot of form in this race. In fact, it's a pretty crappy race, but I'd suggest that number 10 Van Zetta is the only horse that's had a city run at her last start, which was the Newcastle meeting last week. And in that race, it was a poor standard race, but she did attack the line and looks attractively priced at $6. San Pablo will do better, and of course has the SP over Raisin Army at Goulburn, despite them finishing poles apart. Raisin Army was a Bowman special on that occasion and did pretty much his best when he was 4th up with the trial under his belt. So look, not much here, just looking towards the bottom one. Number 9 Sweet Adeline resumed at the Provincials, and she is scratching around. I think she's very tightly priced at $4.25. Race 3, a far more attractive race. 3-year-old fillies over 1400. $2.90 is Egg Tart. $6.50 Naughty Thoughts. $7 Kawakini, $7 Hurry, $7.50 Submissive, and $9.50 down the bottom, Grundalina. Lady Dane looks a horse to go well forward here. She's been back to the trials since breaking through at Wyong over 1200 and quite fresh, stepping up in distance. Hurry, up from Melbourne, in fact from New Zealand, is right up on the speed, as is Submissive, and Grundalina should be next best. Now, Egg Tart was especially impressive first up at the Beaumont track. She just rounded up Wilcannia very, very quickly. Showed a good turn of foot on that occasion. She gets Bowman tomorrow on a track where she's performed okay before she broke her City Maiden in her first preparation, and eminently likeable, I must say. Of the others, look, Grundalina has only country form, but she ran in a $40,000 maiden at her home track last time and started long odds, so obviously there was some depth in that maiden and cleared out to win by a big space. That is potent, given that these are females. Naughty Thoughts and Kawakini, they looked very, very similar runs on the Newcastle track last week, both suited on that occasion. I don't think there's anything particular there. Lady Dane didn't do a bad job when breaking through second up at Wyong, and she can feature. I thought that Submissive was exposed at Canberra. Won the horse to get through there. Now, the all-important stayers race on the card, the 2200 metre race, is race 4. Winebush, $4.60. Divine Sanction, offer break, $4.80. $5.50, also offer break, no return. $7 Looking at You, $8.50. Another one with time off, Doc Holiday. Now, that's fairly critical because we've obviously had a wet period in Sydney. A lot of race meetings have gone missing. And we saw a situation at Gosford last Thursday where the only horse with the recent run managed to win the race despite her form credentials being just a little bit sus. And there's one horse with a recent run here. It's Winebush, which he's certainly been somewhat disappointing in recent runs on his home track, but in Saturday races, most recently in the Tulloch Stakes where he got beaten out of sight, but he's going to be competitive here. And I think appropriately marked favourite in this race. Divine Sanction, he's back from 2400, which I suppose is okay off a break. He's a real grinder. I should mention that the speed looks to come from Get on the Grange up the top there, Looking at You, and I guess Divine Sanction won't be too far away in the run. There are a number, as I say, there are a number of runners who are here that have had significant time off. Doc Holiday, Divine Sanction, No Return, and Napoleon down the bottom. Looking at You showed a very good turn of foot at his first staying assignment this preparation. It was at Goulburn. That was a Kembla meeting transferred to Goulburn, and Cambridge acquitted herself quite well out of that race on Saturday. I think that Looking at You has a very, very good chance in this race. And the other horse I want to mention in this race is Paragon, who showed something at 2400 in midweek class 3 runs back, then went to Canberra Cup and then got shellacked in that Victorian affair, the Manion Cup, and I expect that Paragon can run some sort of race here. That's the staying race. We're halfway through the program. I'll be back with the back half in the other part.